You ready, Z? So I'd like to call the meeting of the Redevelopment Commission to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ralph, would you start us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lynn, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Locke?
Here.
Mr. Zilli?
Here.
Mr. Echtel?
Here.
Mr. Munt?
Here.
Mayor Lynch?
Here.
Dr. Finley?
Dr. Finley was not able to attend today, but she did send her, she will be watching online, but her job is taking too much time today. So we have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on April 22nd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We have the special meeting minutes from April 26th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion and second to approve. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the payment of claims.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Is there any discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have staff reports.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, thank you. We have a few things to report as a staff. We've been busy, as you know. You are helping the community out, move forward with a lot of projects. Briefly, City Hall project is out to bid. Pre-bid meeting is set for Tuesday, June 1st at 3 p.m. at City Hall. The bid opening is set for June 10th. You're holding a special meeting that afternoon, and it's our intention, if all is in order, to make a recommendation and award at the regular meeting on June 24th and start contracting with the who's selected. Founders Square is advertising first in late May next week, and again in actually, I apologize, advertising late May, and I think it's tomorrow, early June. Bid opening is set for your regular meeting on June 24th, and our intention right now is to award on July 22nd unless the commission would make the decision to hold a special meeting for bid award. Robbins Road is currently under construction. It's proceeding per schedule. I believe we have some items on the agenda for some additional work that needs to be approved. The Marquette Greenway Trail is well underway. The concrete work is nearly complete. Restoration and landscaping will probably likely start here in the next couple of weeks. Another thing that we would like to announce that we just received word today, we will be participating in a joint ribbon cutting / groundbreaking ceremony with the town of Burns Harbor. This is scheduled for next Friday, June 4th at 11 a.m. at the Fisherman's parking lot. It's a trailhead that's just west of Burns Harbor Town Hall. So the ribbon cutting is the section of the Burns Harbor was successful in receiving a Next Level Trails grant last year. They've constructed their section of the trail, so there's a ribbon cutting, but it's also in conjunction with a groundbreaking for the City of Portage's project, which will be the continuation of the Marquette Greenway Trail from the terminus in Burns Harbor to Deer Trail Park here in Portage. An exciting time for us all. So again, that's Friday, June 4th, town of Burns Harbor at the parking lot just west of Town Hall.
What time is that, AJ?
It's 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Yes. We continue work on the bypass. The Central Avenue West project continues as well. We recently opened bids for the Community Crossings Matching Grant. As you know, the Redevelopment Commission budgeted some money to assist in that endeavor with a contribution toward the Hamstrom Road project. Our intention is to present a recommendation to the Board of Works at their meeting on June 8th. Cardno, who we hired a while back to conduct the ecological restoration reporting for the core project, has been out on site. They're in the process of finalizing the report. As I've mentioned previously, we were successful in receiving 2 grants from the Lake Michigan Coastal Program. We're currently working with the program to finalize agreements and begin work. Remember, we were successful in 2 projects. One was related to Garrison Center, and the other had to do with real estate. We've spent a lot of time talking about real estate today. Portage Lakefront and Riverwalk, the work that the commission sponsored with the purchase of the armor stone, that work is complete. City Forces did a heck of a job out there, so if you haven't been out to the lakefront, I'd encourage you to go take a look. And we have the before and after pictures, but I'm sure you remember what it looked like. Their effort is top notch. And Superintendent Lobovitz has been so complimentary of all of you. He's been so complimentary of our city forces, and truly believes that the investment is significant and will have a lasting impact out at Lakefront and Riverwalk. So again, great stuff. I think I covered most of the things that aren't later on in the agenda as an update, and would ask or be able to answer any questions that you might have.
Who's responsible for landscaping or maintenance to the weeds and stuff around Lakefront Park?
That has historically been a conversation between the Parks Department and the National Park Service. They're very, it's been sort of a reluctant conversation. And why I say that is because there's been a lot of reluctancy in the conversation. We pushed back a little bit recently while the park was closed, while we were up there, and Joe had a conversation with some Park Service folks yesterday, asking some questions like, what about that tree? What about this? What about that? Those are weeds. And so it seemed like we started to gain some momentum that, yeah, that's not natural. That's a weed, and that's a bad tree. And so I'm happy to report that I think that conversation turned a little bit, and there's an acknowledgement that some of this stuff just needs to be dealt with, and that it's not some natural condition.
Has there been any conversation for the Lakefront Park about changing the hardscaping
Yes, there
to
has
accommodate the new geography?
There has been. Yes, we were out there, and one of the things that and I know it's important to all of us, and I hopefully represented you well, access to the lake, into the jetty, into the water's edge has been something that we've held just like as a core tenet to the design of that park from day one. That has been clearly expressed to them, and I've offered to help, and they've offered to help, and so we hustled to make sure that the park and the site was ready for the summer, but the Park Service has made a commitment that we intend to continue to improve access at the jetty down to the beach, and then maybe some future opportunities that we've talked about. Yep. And those future opportunities being, there's been a pretty serious conversation about an accessible kayak launch. So that's that future opportunity that Alan and I have been working on for a couple months in his capacity on the Port Authority.
Good,
I think that's it.
Don't leave, you're next.
Okay.
Is that all your report?
That is, unless there's more questions.
So under old business, we have approved the amended final accounting report for LMW Portage Lakefront project.
Yes, so at the previous meeting, the commission approved the final accounting. I received an email following that in their final audit, that they noted that our refund was $37.54 less than I previously presented to you. So knowing how specific Lynn and I were in the closeout of last month, felt it important to present this information to you so that you know that the check that was receipted in the clerk treasurer's office is $37.54 less than previously reported.
Any questions? Okay, that's old business. We have new business. Open the quotes for the 50-ton rooftop unit at the police department.
Yes, we appear to have received 2 quotes for compressor replacement at Portage Police Department. The first is from Mechanical Concepts, Inc., 750 County Line Road, Gary, Indiana, 46403. The quote from Mechanical Concepts is for $7,310. That's $7,310. The second quote received is from Circle R Mechanical, Inc., 6620 Shepherd Avenue, Portage, Indiana, 46368. They made an effort to seal this one.
It was serious.
They were. And this quote again from Circle R Mechanical is for $5,745. Again, that's $5,745. Considering there's a sense of urgency in this matter, if the commission would be so kind as to approve what appears to be the lowest responsive quote from Circle R Mechanical for the sum of $5,745, contingent on staff review of documents submitted, as well as an opportunity for attorney witness review.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the lowest, most responsive bidder upon attorney review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the mixed design proposals.
Yes, so we have a few proposals from Mixed Design. If you recall, Mixed Design assisted us on the Garrison Center project and have continued to keep in touch with the City of Portage about future opportunities. The first proposal that you have before you is to assist in the development of the interiors, the interior spaces. Color in their scope of work was presented to you. This professional services proposal is in the sum of $6,400. And if it's the pleasure of the commission, it'd be our recommendation to approve so that we can get them started on selecting finishes in City Hall. And I guess before I say that, always a good question is, did we budget for it? Right, that's a good old question. We did.
Just knew it was coming.
And we did. But yeah, right. We did, and let me find it just so everybody is comfortable. We did do that in Fund 407. And we identified in the budget that was approved in January $35,000 for other design services, and noted in the budget that the services could include landscape design, interior design, and civil engineering.
Has everybody seen their new building? They're opening their new building in Hebron, Mixed Designs. If you go online and look at the work she's done, it's simply amazing. She's an amazing person.
So AJ, this will encompass any and all like cosmetic upgrades in the entire building, it looks like?
Well, in some of the cases will be just color selections, finish selections. You know, again, a lot of the stuff that we've considered, you'll recall when we entered the contract with CSK, they were very clear they stayed away from interior design.
Right.
And I think that, in addition to the colors of walls and carpet and that interface and you know, and LVT and the other finishes that are in the building, there's also a thought here that there's some Portage branding that goes into this proposal. You know, whether it's, you know, making ultimate decisions on where are we going to put the mayoral portraits in City Hall. You know, where are we going to do some of those other things to tell the Portage story? Where is it appropriate that some of these different things be done? You know, we've got the walls picked out now. What's the finishes going to look like to be a warm and inviting City Hall for visitors and residents that come?
So AJ, in terms of brand development, does this include, like, I see like tighten up the seal. I'm not sure what that means, but is that like redesigning some of our current branding that we use?
Where are you at specifically? I'm sorry,
Oh,
Colin.
you're on the last page.
I'm on the last
You mean tighten
page.
up the seal. I think
Yeah.
that's that city seal behind Norma's desk.
Okay.
Is that what she's talking
Yeah,
about?
I don't know.
So,
Well, you know, the big.
Well, yeah, I
yeah.
just, I didn't know if that's what this was referring to.
So what was happening at some point early on in the design process is the architect at the dais in the council chambers was identifying a city, whether it's the city logo, the city seal,
Right.
which branding effort really was it, to kind of bring some of that stuff together so that it's kind of flowing in City Hall and possibly for something for us to consider moving forward. We've got seals and logos, depending on whose letterhead you use, that are
They're all different.
in various, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So this is for, is it for 6,400
Yes, sir.
out of that budget? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
contract with Mixed Designs.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Approve, well, so this A2, 1, 2, and 3 are all the same under mixed design, or they're all different?
There are three different
Okay.
proposals. The second proposal that you have that was sent earlier, Mickey from Mixed Design does apologize for its late delivery. The second is related to the Founders Square Amphitheater recognition wall. I understand there's a long history that I'm not privy to all of it, but early on, I believe it's called the Maestro Society.
Yes.
Had conducted some fundraising activities and had identified some folks who contributed at some pretty significant levels to support music in the park. And as part of their pitch, they indicated to these folks who would be contributing that there would be a recognition wall at the amphitheater Founders. It's long overdue moving forward. The ideas didn't seem, in some of the previous conversations I had with them, to be very far along. It was like, we need to do a recognition wall, period. Some basic ideas. The thought was, you know what, maybe there should be a design. This is a significant investment of the recognition wall. It's going to be forever in our park space. At the amphitheater, and a design eye to this is going to be very important. This second proposal is kind of thinking about, you know, and I think to a level for me it is marketing. It's marketing our community, what the Maestro Society did to bring music to the park. And so the second proposal is to work with that team, the Hardens and others, to develop some different conceptual designs and make a decision as to what that recognition wall would look like. So that proposal that you have before you is for $1,650. And as I mentioned, you know, and maybe I'm stretching, I really don't think I am. I think we're marketing our community and the good things and people that put in effort. We do have a marketing line in our budget in Fund 406. That marketing line is for $10,000. And I did provide some examples in terms of the Founder Square posters, different events and banners. So while I didn't directly identify it as a note in the budget, I do think that it is a marketing piece. And I think with the investment that's going to be made in this wall, that it needs to, again, have a design eye and a strong attention to detail, because it's going to be there for a long time.
So the other thing, AJ, is the founders, the PTLEA is paying for the plaques.
The plaques.
They're paying for those plaques with the names of the Maestro Society and the donors. So the Redevelopment Commission won't be paying for that. They've already voted to pay for all the nameplates.
This is helping them through the design ideas. So they've committed money.
Is this the same, wasn't there like a fundraiser or something for like the Founders?
Founders
like
Fund.
So is that?
No, Founders
Different?
Fund and live entertainment are two different things.
Oh.
And Maestro Society is for people who paid into like $500 and upwards to get the Maestro Society going. And that's all through live entertainment, and their money is at the Community Foundation. The Founders Fund was with the city, and that money is held at the park, right? But there's very little money left in there.
I thought that was at the county as well. I'm not sure.
I thought it was at the park, but
Yeah,
it could be with the, I never see that, so I don't know about that Founders Fund. But that was the fund that was supposed to help live entertainment in perpetuity, but it you know, it was like the branding of the founders, you know, the American Water Pavilion. That was like a 5-year funding project for like a certain amount of money. Now afterwards, if American Water doesn't want to be the primary on there, I think they're looking for another primary if American Water doesn't want to continue to do it. Because at the end of 5 years, and that there's another amount they would have to pay into that.
Is there any kind of recognition we have to do for the, whatever the founder was? Like the park was keeping the money? Like whoever gave that, do we have to recognize them somehow as well?
Is that part of, I really don't know, Greg.
Okay.
If we knew where, if anybody has where that could be, I don't, this for me was very specific to the Maestro Society part.
And if you notice that there are bricks with names on them as well over there at Founders, but I don't know about the Founders Fund. I personally don't really have anything to do with it. So I think that was something that the previous mayor started, and you're right, Lynn, maybe the money was kept at Community Foundation, but we don't, the live entertainment doesn't really have anything to do with that.
But if we're...
I think the park uses it to pay for, like when they have park events. The Founders Fund is supposed to help, like the park put on events too. It's supposed to help pay for events that the park has. But there, from what I understand, there's very little funds in there right now, so.
Yeah, I was thinking if, I don't, no idea, and if we were promised people whenever they gave the money that
Right.
they're recognized, and we're already designing something that's going to be, if we put something up for the Maestro Foundation, they had someone, hey, I gave $500 and I was supposed to have a plaque up here too, could we at least look
We
into
need to
it?
check it
Yes,
out, you're absolutely
absolutely.
right.
Kind of,
Yeah, because if it's
Build
ringing
them
a bell
both
with you,
together.
it might have happened. Yes, we should, absolutely. Yes.
I suppose Amy could check on that, although I don't think Amy was involved in it either, but
We'll have to ask around.
yeah.
right.
Okay, that's a good point though, Greg, you're right. Yeah. I mean, people put money in there, so you're absolutely right. We should recognize them. I agree.
So can make a motion to accept it and find, contingent on finding out if we have to add to it. Is that a motion? Make it look good for the minutes, please.
Alan,
second.
Did you hear Greg down there?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion by Greg, seconded by Colin, to keep
To
that.
accept the proposal,
But make sure we got everybody's name and everybody's recognized.
there you go.
Yeah. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have the Founders Square poster design.
Yes.
You know, I was over there today and I do see that there are some different posters in there. Are those fairly new?
Are they the event posters?
No, there's no
No.
event posters. They talk about the early trains and they
yeah.
talk about,
I don't know.
I think there's only 2 that are blank.
Okay. So this proposal, there are some blank poster frames at Founders. So this proposal here is to develop several more posters that continue to tell the story, to market our community. Some of them will be as basic as the event posters, you know, this is what goes on these dates. Some of them are going to be a more specific topic of discussion. There's been a little bit of, we're really going to work with mixed design. There's been some initial conversation about what these additional topic posters could be, like the early days. I believe there's several of them.
Yeah, there's some families on there right now.
Right. Early families of the community, early settlement, the railroads. I think there's some. But the idea here is to develop a few more of those. That we never had, and with the idea ultimately being that there's ultimately a bit of a rotation, when the event poster goes down at the end of a season, that it's not a blank wall for the next 3 months, that it fills in. So that's the thought here, is to work with mixed design to take the work that's been previously done and to provide several more thematic posters, and as well as to develop some of the posters that would be specifically for the events that would be throughout at Founders throughout the season.
So the new one that you're going to have on the corner there by the fire station, is that going to be a new pillar
We're probably
there?
there won't be a poster frame on it.
Okay.
We're going to keep the poster frames, a little more pedestrian scale. Now, if we find that there's more pedestrian traffic there down the road, we could subsequently put one in. But I think right now I'm trying to stay focused on the ones we have.
Well, I think it looks nice with what's in there. I mean, I was looking at it. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it. If you went by there, I think there was one on the Wolf Homestead, was one on the Chrisman family. You know, it's really kind of what that speaks to. If any of you, I don't know if you were in there, Greg, years ago when we had that meeting over at the police training room where we all threw our thoughts in there about what we thought should be there and in those posters. And I think I like to keep that theme there. I think that's kind of what Founders is about.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Founders Square poster design proposal for mixed design. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the NDOT LPA contract for Chrisman Bypass project.
You do. It would be staff's recommendation to approve, and Sandy Kolb is here if you have any questions regarding the agreement.
You want to just tell the commission a little bit about it so that they're familiar with?
You do it. This is the Willow Creek Road bypass. So this project is set for construction next year. This is for the resurfacing of Willow Creek Road and the bypass from the north approach of the Indiana Toll Road Bridge north to a point just south of Old Porter Road near the side entrance of the fire station at Old Porter and Chrisman Road. That project, federal funding is available, I think, in November, but you don't pave in November, and then unfortunately it's going to roll into 22. So again, in terms of folks watching, please be patient. We understand the road and its condition. However, this is as fast as we can make the project, take the project through the approval process and be ready for construction. With that said, there's another phase of this project that will be starting this year, and that's Porter County. Porter County has responsibility to the 2 bridges along the bypass over Norfolk, the Porter branch, as well as CSX. So it's our understanding that that work is going to begin in July and could take 3 months. That's a deck overlay, a partial deck overlay, as well as a replacement of the concrete approach slabs. Throughout the summer, Willow Creek will be down to 2 lanes, very similar, in a similar manner to what you're seeing out on the bridges over I-94 on 249. The difference here is that's one big deck, so they're going to take half of the deck at a time and just move the traffic over to the other side. In the meantime, our street department will get out there and try to do the best they can to strengthen up the one side that's going to be first open to traffic. Once the detour is set and the Porter County's contractor has the other side closed and are working on the approaches and the decks, we'll be able to get out there and do a much better job. But this is a year where we're going to need patience. This is the right construction sequence. You work on the decks, you work on the approach slabs, we bring the asphalt second. So the sequence of construction is correct, and we're just going to need patience. We understand the condition of the road, and just would ask everybody to be patient with us as we try to provide a Band-Aid for it this year, and knowing that this project and the LPA agreement for you will be a reconstruction of that road next year.
So Joyce is working with Sandy and AJ. We're going to do our level best to let everybody know what's going on as far as construction projects, because I don't care where I go, somebody's upset that we're tearing up their street and it's taking too long. So we just need to explain to people that it takes time, but this project on Willow Creek Road and over the bypass is a big project. It's a huge project, but it's one that needs to get done. And so we're just going to have to try to encourage people to be as patient as possible.
And this is the full contract for construction and everything, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just to keep in mind, this is a big project. I mean, so just the road section that I've identified is 2.5 million, 2.58 million. This is construction. This isn't the design.
Right.
And it doesn't contemplate the bridges that Porter County is working on. So this is a significant investment. And again, I know we want it to be done yesterday, but the projects of this size do take time to get it organized, sorted, and constructed.
AJ, a project of this size has been done on the bypass, right?
Probably since construction in 1984, 85. Those decks are original. We may have done a resurface at some point in the early 2000s.
A little bit before that.
A little bit before that.
Yeah.
So this will be a reconstruct. This isn't go out there and just put some asphalt down. I mean, if we find any soft spots, this is going to be as much as of a reconstruct of that road as we can do.
Have we noticed, just curious, less semi-traffic now that we've put in the weight limit south of 20?
I don't know how to answer that. I've seen a little different kind of traffic pattern being out every day with the closing of 149 through the east side of town. I'm just seeing some trucks on roads that you typically don't see them.
Right.
And then obviously we've been a witness to what's been happening on Samuelson Road.
So it's going to be kind of rough because
Yes.
that's going to be tore up for 2 summers.
Correct.
So we need to communicate with people so that they're aware. I mean, it'll be nice when it's done, but it's something we have to do, so.
I'll make the motion to enter into the contract.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the approval of the Admin Marsh change order number 1 for the Robbins Road extension.
Yeah, so change order number 1 is for soil stabilization due to unstable or unsuitable soils that were discovered during the excavation process. That change order is an add change order in the amount of $43,584.31.
So I don't know if you guys have been out there and seen what they're doing, but it got very squishy out there. And it was very dry, and I kept saying to AJ, where's all that water coming from? Because it was very squishy. And then he explained to me that they had to firm up that base because...
Yeah, so the soil stabilization that was done here is we received quotes for the 2 different approaches. One being add cement, mix the cement in and strengthen the existing soil with cement. The second was proposed would be an over excavation and a placement of stone to bridge the soil. Knowing what the soils report had indicated on the site, that sketchy soils were extending down to 15 feet, and considering that the other solution was also more expensive, and we knew that we weren't going to find anything better 2 feet further down, taking the route of what ended up being the cheaper solution and the solution that probably made more sense for the condition, which was conducting soil stabilization by adding cement, was the decision and the approach and the recommendation of the contractor.
AJ, are we on track for completion at the end of June?
I don't believe that we're behind significantly. Overall, it's been fairly dry when the cement was added and the soil stabilization effort undertaken. We had a few days of rain leading up to that, so we did lose a few days. But if you've been out there today, you see how aggressive DeBoer Egoff was to get back on schedule. So I think we're doing well. Hawk has installed the traffic signals, all the undergrounds for the traffic signals. DeBoer Egoff is continuing, and you can see the work that they did out there. So I think that we're close to being on track.
Great.
So we'll need approval of the exchange order number 1.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We
Madam-
have the approval of the
Madam Chairman.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We have a second change order
I'm
related
sorry.
to this. Where the cement stabilization got tricky was near the intersection of Willow Creek Road. Okay, I don't know, there's a giant tilling machine that comes out there. There's some very large pieces of equipment, and it couldn't interface with Willow Creek. So there's this section that couldn't be completed with the soil stabilization. We also had some conflict with utilities, very shallow depth utilities that also limited our ability to take that approach in that area. This is a second change order. These are add change orders, or an add change order in the sum of $21,860, and this is to undercut and bridge some of those soils I talked about earlier in the locations where the cement and soil stabilization was very difficult or really impossible to complete. And it'd be our recommendation to approve change order number 2.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
AJ, quick question on this. What was our original budget for Robbins? Were we at 700 or 800?
700.
Okay.
Colin, it looks like it was 749, 370.
Yeah, so the low bid was
39.
749.
Yeah.
I believe when we looked at it originally, that we looked at the bid that was received in 2015, and I believe it was just over 650. We had the engineers review. The engineer's estimate went up to 700, and the low bidder that came in, when we opened the bids, came in at 749 and change.
So we're still okay with that?
We're okay in the budget, in other places, but these, this is, when you open up a road, this is what happens. Or what can happen.
Well, we want to do it right for sure. We've got other areas of the city where we didn't do it right, and we're paying for that now. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now, design agreement.
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Design agreement with SEH for Marquette Greenway Trail Project.
Yes, we've previously discussed this. Attorney Whitten, I believe you've had a chance to review. I know you had some questions. I believe that they've been answered satisfactory.
Yes.
So it would be staff's recommendation to approve the design agreement with SEH for the Marquette Greenway Trail Project. This is the next level trails section. And again, just for everybody's recollection, you'll recall at the meeting that previously the commission had an agreement with SEH, and there were some concerns about where that had originated, and the decision of the commission was, hey, let's clean this up, let's create it as a standalone document for consideration of the commission. It just took Attorney Whitten and I a little longer than expected to get all the answers that we needed so that we could bring this recommendation to you.
You were updating the previous agreement?
The origin document of the previous agreement had been called into question, and the decision was, can we start anew with a standalone, and that's what we did.
Okay, we will need a motion.
Make a motion to approve and accept the agreement with SEH.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the design agreement with SEH for the Marquette Greenway Trail Project. Is there any further questions, discussion?
Yeah, AJ, what's the percentage on this grant? What's the matching percentage? Is it 80-20?
Well, this is different. So this is the next level trails grant.
Right.
So I'm not going to get the percentages right. I believe that we received around $2.5 million as a grant through the Next Level Trails Grant Program, and the city in the letter in the grant letter did commit a dollar amount, and off the top of my head, I'm not going to recall it.
Okay.
At the end, so is it 80-20? It's probably better than that for the city.
That's what I thought. I thought it was better than 80-20.
So, and I think if I recall, this is the smallest amount of distance, but the biggest of those projects, right? Because we have a bridge
Yes. So,
going over there.
So this section, this segment is just under a mile. It extends from Deer Trail East to the newly constructed terminus in the town of Burns Harbor. So included in this section are a pretty significant length of boardwalk, as well as a bridge crossing over Salt Creek. That is, I believe, the last conversation I had with the designer is it's about a 150-foot span.
We were lucky to get that, I mean, because there were very few recipients, and I think,
Yeah, we were. And the state, as we talked earlier, the state's made a significant investment. They're really supportive. They funded the section in Burns Harbor. They worked with the city of Portage If you'll recall, we were unsuccessful the first time around. They did offer some advice as how we could sharpen up our application. We did do that, and were successful the second time around.
It's a good thing. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Key Capture Energy lease of property.
Yes, included in your packet is a correspondence from a gentleman by the name of Doug Setliff, representing or on behalf of Key Capture Energy. A while back, he had reached out expressing an interest to lease properties owned by the Redevelopment Commission, specifically a parcel that is currently houses the city's compost site, as well as a property, another property in the immediate vicinity that is currently a wooded lot that is unused. I have attempted to gain as much information as I can from this gentleman, so included in your packet is a cover letter explaining what he does, some recommended lease payments, and then provided an option and lease agreement. As I said, I've been able to bring together and bring to you as much as possible for your consideration, and would really now just turn it over for discussion.
I think it's a 30-year lease, 30.
Yeah, so you see that, yeah, on that lease term sheet, yeah.
Does it have any impact? Is there any plans or need for the compost site to be expanded?
Well, my concern, Commissioner, is that I believe that after they do their due diligence, and if they were successful in moving forward with this project, I think they're going to want the property. So where we will find ourselves, I believe, in the position of where does the compost site go? So, you know, that's an important consideration. While that lease payment may look nice, I think a big challenge that would confront us immediately is if they are successful, where would that compost site be relocated to? And as I stand here today, I wouldn't know what to say.
So they're not asking for the property we aren't using, they're asking for all of it.
Both.
Do we have any other redevelopment property they might be interested in?
Well, they like that one specifically because it's right next to the substation. If you're familiar with that area, there's a large NIPSCO sub.
Maybe we can find some space for them on the west side of 249
Right.
in about 3 weeks.
Maybe. Right.
They have an excellent corporate website, and they picked that site for that location for exactly what AJ said. They need that connection point, because that will give them access to industry, the whole grid, everything.
Right. Do we have any alternative sites for the compost site?
No. And you know, we have looked at that, and you know, that's a joint venture with the county waste board, so.
Right. I mean, are they
I know
currently
there were
staffing it?
discussions- Pardon?
Are they currently staffing it? I know we had done that
Yes, the
in
county
the
waste
past.
board staffs that. They built the little building there that the staff stays in.
And is that
County-
movable?
The county owns all the equipment that turns the compost. They own the loader, and they are the actual ones who turn the compost. It just happens to be, you know, a partnership with us. But it is open to the public now, which was our agreement with them.
Right.
I think that's like an ideal location for the compost site. I just don't see us moving that anywhere else.
Do we need a motion to reject the bid, or is it just?
I would defer to council. How would I communicate with this gentleman?
You know, I guess, yeah, it depends on, if our intention is to respond in the negative, then I would suggest that the board take action to reject the lease proposal so that AJ can report that to them. If the thought is that we want to do some more investigation or consideration, then I would just suggest tabling it, but if you're, doesn't sound like, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, are we absolutely convinced that the compost site couldn't go somewhere else and we want to pass on this lease opportunity? If not, maybe we wait a few more weeks and see if we can come up with something. If not, then we say no. I'm just thinking here, if we say no now and then we discover in 3 weeks, oh, hey.
Well, we could table it, but I don't see the compost site moving.
Okay.
I don't, there's a huge amount of material out there. I don't see that operation being able to be moved anywhere else.
Yeah, we're not ready to, I mean, even if we wanted to do this, I have a world of questions on this,
Right.
on this agreement anyway, so I wouldn't recommend that you would move into positive today by any stretch, but I think Colin's correct. If you guys are at the point where there's no sense of kicking the can down the road, then it would be nice to be able to give AJ the authority to reject.
Yeah, if we don't think that there's anywhere else, then I would say we should just reject it.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. I'll make a motion to reject the
I'll
lease offer.
second.
We have a motion and a second to reject the proposal of having Key Capture Energy lease property. Is there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the approval for AmeriCo proposal for the site investigation at 2693 Irving.
Yes, Madam Chairman, members, or is it Madam President? I'm sorry. Got to get the right board here, right? This is a proposal from AmeriCo. It is specifically related to a site investigation at 2693 Irving Street, which would be the former police station. A number of years ago, the city of Portage moved ahead with an environmental remediation project to clean up environmental contaminants that were there as a result of, I think, a fuel cell or underground storage tank that was placed there a number of years ago when the station was first constructed. The city at the time made a determination to bring that closure to a commercial standard of closure, because at the time, I believe everybody thought that was going to continue to be the police station. And so the pumps, the building that was built were removed, and we moved on. More recently, Mayor Lynch, Attorney Whitten, others in the community have been working with the Porter County Library Board, investigating the idea of like a library garden or an outdoor extension of the library and its operations south. There's been some initial conversations with a design, and that design has been shared amongst some of us, and it's really cool and unique, and likely a really wonderful, could be a real wonderful addition to our community in that area. With that said, I think that we may have a bit of a reluctance to. I think we as a community want to know a little bit more about the property from an environmental standpoint before we get too far ahead of advocating for a library garden center or whatever being constructed out in this area. Because I believe ultimately people would be in this space, you know, there's going to be a lot of use, right? So what this proposal does is attempts to review the current condition of the property, to investigate whether or not over the course of the last X number of years since closure of the environmental remediation, has the property healed itself? Is there additional work ahead to identify the necessary steps to bring this property to a full closure so that we can either move forward with better understanding the steps that it would take to have this be a library center, or maybe more importantly to you, figuring out, what would be the reuse of that property in the years to come. Again, we're currently close to a commercial standard, so we wouldn't be able to advocate for the sale of the property for residential use. This proposal attempts to take that first step, which is that real strong investigation to determine, is the property good to go? Could we move forward with bringing it to a residential closure, or are we going to be required to do some subsequent steps? That's what this report would do. It would either identify that we're good, or it would identify that additional action is required. In disclosure, this proposal is for $25,000. The team at Americo has indicated, though, that this is the first number, and depending on the outcome of this initial investigation, we could expect that additional monies would need to be spent or allocated toward the further environmental cleanup. They estimated a cap at 200 for the project all in, so beyond this, another 175. I think if we found that after the $25,000 investigation that more work would be needed, I believe we as the city of Portage could probably find some opportunities to seek, funding to further clean up the site, to bring it to a residential closure. But really, this would be the key first step in moving that property ahead in any direction, whether it's the library center, or more importantly, just we desire to clean it up to a full clean standard for the library, garden, and center, or subsequently in the years to come if the commission were meant to make the decision with the city of Portage to sell the property.
Is the total 16,409?
I believe that it is. Yes, sir. So yes, I apologize. So the total for the work that's presented here is for 16,409.
I'll make a motion to enter into contract with them.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposal for site investigation for 2693 Irving. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Dan, do you happen to have a picture of the library garden on your computer that we could show the commission?
Every time I bring these pictures up, you complain about my computer.
I do.
Well, we have the exhibits and we can share them.
They're absolutely, when you see it, it's an outdoor learning center.
Yep.
I don't know if you're familiar with the one in Valpo. You should be taking your daughter to that. She would love it. It's a storybook walk and you go through it, but this is an amazing opportunity to do something downtown and partner with the library. So I just think if we can make this work, I have talked to the governor about it. I've talked to the lieutenant governor about it. I've gone to meetings about it. So I'm going to do everything I can to work with the library to see that we have something like that downtown. But the one in Valpo is really nice. It's absolutely beautiful. And they have a lot of partners in there that help get that done. So I know that Jesse Butts, who's the head of the library, Porter County Library, is very excited about this project. So we have talked to some of the members of the board. So,
Madam Mayor, I will forward it to all the members.
okay,
So they can put
look
that
at
on
that.
their
I think you'll be as excited about it as I am. It's an amazing thing for Portage.
Don't let her.
That way I can look at them in big screens at their leisure.
Right.
My computer is a glare.
So, okay, Daniel Boone. Yes, he is. Oh, you said that very politely, too.
I've learned.
So, AJ, do you have other business to bring before the commission?
I don't.
Is there anyone here who would like to bring?
Oh, do I?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's just
I
shocking.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Is
Do I,
there-
Lynn? I mean,
God, I hope not.
Is there any other business to
okay,
come
we're done.
before the
We're done.
commission?
We're done.
Any other business? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Be sure you all look at that because I think you'll be as excited about it
She's
as
gonna
I
quiz
am.
us on it at the next meeting
Huh?
to see if you looked at it. She will.
I'm quickly becoming a walking encyclopedia.